Well, thank you so much for joining us on this presentation. We're here to take a look at the Aurum Foundation. I don't work for the company. I'm here just to turn it around, toss it around, peel the onion, have a look inside, see who's behind this, who's the CEO, who's running this operation. That's important. We're also going to look at some of the products, which is very important as well. And then the last thing, for those of you who want to stay on for the last 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to take a look at the affiliate model as well associated with the Aurum business. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give you any financial advice. I'm not a CPA. I'm just an educator here. The thoughts and opinions that I share tonight is just my opinions, my understanding. It's always prudent to do your own due diligence, to seek your own professional advice. We always highly recommend to do that. Now, I'm keen to know, like, who's established this, who's running this show, what's going on here, and I can see that there are three main categories in terms of the legal and corporate structure. They have operations operating the neobank in Europe. They've got the investment LLC based out of the Emirates, and they've got the foundation based in Hong Kong. Now, we've seen licenses or certainly registrations for the Hong Kong one. We've seen licenses issued by the Dubai government for the Eco Aurum Investment LLC. We have not, or I haven't seen anything from Poland, although I heard there's a VASP license or a CASP license. I'm not sure, was it VASP, V-A-S-P, a virtual asset service providing license. There's also another talk about a CASP license, whatever that means. Maybe I was mishearing it. And also now, just recently, we learned that they have got a license in Canada. And there will be documentation on that. I think I have it, but I mightn't have it embedded into this presentation. But you'll find it on their maybe social channels or that Telegram thing. I'm not a big user of Telegram. I don't really like it. I prefer WhatsApp, but a lot of the stuff's done over in Telegram. So from time to time, I pop over there. When we look at the corporate people, it's quite diverse. We cannot say it's in a US company. We can't say it's a European company. We can't say it's an Asian company because they're from all over the world. And on the left-hand side, Leonardo, an incredible young man, very quiet, timid guy, not a sales type at all, very intelligent, but very nice demeanor. I spent a week with, well, some of you guys actually met him at the launch, but I had another week with him when I was down in Brazil. And Leonardo worked with the government at government level, developing blockchain and tokenization. He also was a former Binance strategic partner, and that's why Brian Benson appointed Leonardo. Leonardo's building the exchange. Now, the exchange is already up and running. The centralized version is already there for you to use. It's been there since November 25. It's not in its full glory. Obviously, they've a lot more to do to it, but it functions perfectly. I think they've more to do on the branding side, and it's in what's known as public beta testing. So you can have private beta testing, which is out the back door, nobody sees. That's no good. When you have public beta testing, it allows the community to use it and test it and take out and iron out bugs ready for its full launch. So this is the man that's dealing with that. He's also dealing with the decentralized exchange. So there are two exchanges, centralized, decentralized. And Binance have the same. Binance have a centralized exchange and a decentralized wallet system called Trust Wallet, if you know what that, where you can swap and move and hold tokens in the Trust Wallet. Al Risky, he's obviously from Asia, but he's the director of strategy. I never spoke to the man, but I saw him at a dinner table and people were around him. I just didn't get close enough to him. I know some of you guys on this call had calls and photographs with Al. I didn't personally get to meet him. Nicholas Kellan, yes, he's from Australia, is my understanding. I did see him on a Zoom. In fact, he came on the big screen and talked to the audience at the launch about his role and what he plays. A young man with a lot of experience in Web3 and a great man to have on board. These two guys, again, they deal with the VCs. VC means venture capitalists. These are the big wealthy people, the hedge funds, those type of clients. They deal with these guys, and certainly they're the advisory boards. And I believe they're speaking for Aurum at certain of the conferences. These different web conferences that are attended around the world. These guys represent Aurum at those events, but they have their own hedge funds. You can say that he's raised 110 million. What's this guy done over here? He's scaled 100 plus startups. So these guys are advisory boards to the company. And I met one of them in person, and the other guy again was on Zoom. For the African relations, we have Bukari. He's the ex-deputy finance minister from Sierra Leone. And that's quite interesting because they're bringing a fabulous product. It's up and running already. You'll find that this company really, when they announce something, it kind of they kick it off straight away. It's not coming in 3 years or 6 years or 10 years. They tend to deliver what they have. They've so many products; it's incredible. Nick Patel on the right-hand side of your screen. I know he's in charge of two companies. He's the CEO of Bank of Bullion. Now, when we talk about bullion, everybody knows we're talking about gold. But he's also the founder of a company called Clink Gold, Clinq. Very credible guy, 25 years plus in global finance, and he's on board as well, helping roll out our RWAs, which is quite interesting. But this is the guy we all lean towards. This is the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer. Again, a young man. He's 51 years of old. I call him a young man because he's a lot younger than me, but he's a man with a lot of experience. Very well-read man. His parents were missionaries, and he went up to California and did his education over in not San Diego, Santa Barbara. And he went to university there. When he left university, he went straight into the bank, and he worked with Morgan Stanley. Now it used to be called Dean Witter. Dean Witter was a bank over there, but Dean Witter was actually bought out by Morgan Stanley, but it was Morgan Stanley brand. And Brian was a trader there. He traded for Morgan Stanley. And when he left the banking industry, he went to what we call the other side. He went to Web3, blockchain, and had a very, very, very successful career. He was an ambassador for the Algorand blockchain, but he was hired by Binance. Now, lots of people get hired by Binance, but there are very few are managing directors inside Binance, and that's what Brian was. He was the managing director for all of LATAM. That means everywhere from California south, the whole way down, Mexico, Peru, Colombia, Paraguay, where else is down there? Chile, Argentina, Brazil, that whole continent, guys. This is the man who opened it for Binance. He was the boss man. He went down, did the banking relationships, did whatever was necessary to establish that market. And Binance went from nothing to $1 billion in 6 months, much faster than Tesla, Microsoft, Apple. Binance beat them all. And this man, his jurisdiction, his area, represented almost 20% of the entire revenue, what this man created. And you can imagine in those days, it was tough. It was tough dealing with crypto, this gray area of cryptocurrency where everybody thought it was some kind of nonsense in the sky. But 15 years later, the American government now are very positive about it. Legislations now, it's coming to the fore. It's being regulated, which is great news for us, the consumers. Fantastic news. But there are still it depends on your jurisdiction, where you can and where you can't, and what you can and what you can't do. I'm not a lawyer. I can't tell you what's right in your country. There's new laws in Europe called MiCA. I haven't read them, but I've just heard about them recently. There's different laws, but it's all changing and growing. And Brian Benson has the skills to navigate those waters because that's exactly what Binance did. They had to conform. They had to come into regulation. But at one point there was none, and it's still very, very, very grey area, but very, very exciting for Brian Benson. And he wants to create 1,000 millionaires and build another billion-dollar company. Now, before Aurum, I'd never heard of this guy, Brian Benson. I don't know, maybe you never heard of him either, but I Googled him and I found him everywhere. And this was great, great news. I just clicked Brian Benson, BRY. You can see it up there, Brian Benson Binance. I clicked images. I wanted to see what he looked like because I saw pictures and I can see younger images. I can see older images or as he appears today. And what that tells us, ladies and gentlemen, is we have history here. That's important. This is not some, actor or somebody we don't know. This guy's quite famous when you follow him. And even Forbes have written positively about this opportunity. Forbes is a very reputable media company. In fact, at one point, they'd invited Brian Benson to the Forbes Council. So they recognize him as an expert in his field, an expert in this area of cryptocurrency. They had a whole page on him. The next thing that kind of impressed me or gave me a good feeling was the fact that the issuing bank of Visa or MasterCard are also on board with Aurum. This is an incredible product. I have a sample card here in front of me. Have a look at this, guys. Where's the camera? There we go. Now, when I look in the camera, it's reversed. Can you see that? When I'm looking at it, it's the orange back to front. There's something wrong with this camera, I guess. When I used to do that, I could see it properly. Maybe for you guys, you can see it all right at your side, but what I'm seeing is back to front. So anyway, I'll figure out that later. But a wonderful piece of plastic. Why would you be excited about a piece of plastic? Well, this doesn't require KYC. They don't ask for your name, address, postcode. They don't ask for bank statements, utility bills. They don't ask for passports, driver's license. This is a Visa card without that, which is, I mean, who in the world can do that? Bar you're a Brian Benson to pull something off like that. So when I see that Aurum and Visa are co-branded on the one piece of plastic, that tells me obviously the issuing bank has done its due diligence. That's important. They know Brian Benson. They know the directors. They know is this company licensed. They know what they're providing here. And it has to be that the Aurum name cannot be larger than the Visa name. Can you see it co-branded there? So the Visa has to be one size. So this is all part of the regulations for these cards to be issued. So, and there's no name on the card, which is absolutely brilliant, guys. Now, I tracked this man last year just to see what he was up to, where he was going, what he was doing. And I noted he was in Argentina at the Ethereum conference for a week. And then he went to London. In fact, I flew to London to meet him. He then went to the Netherlands. I flew to the Netherlands with him. And then I flew home and he went to, where did he go? He went to Germany. And then he went to, I'm going to say Luxembourg. He went to Greece. He went to Slovenia. He went to Vietnam, Hong Kong, Dubai, Singapore. Hey, Singapore, there's it on the screen. He was one of the speakers at Token 2049, one of the largest blockchain conferences, and over 25,000 people showed up to see this man. The tickets on the last day were $1,400, guys. That's crazy. I love the Rolling Stones. I love Pink Floyd. I can't imagine I'd pay 1,400 for a ticket to see my favorite rock band. Yet no, people were paying 1,400 to see this man and get into this event at the Marina Bay Sands last October. Now he was on stage. There is a recording of his message on stage talking about AI finance. But who else was there? Binance were there speaking. Tron was there speaking. He's rubbing shoulders with the big guys. And what this tells me, or what I feel from this, is here we have a company that's not afraid to be exposed. They're not afraid to go into this arena of experts like Binance. Because those guys will figure out what these guys are up to. They know this technology. They know the possibilities. So when they're out there, Brian Benson's looking for partnerships. He tells me he's about 5 companies offering card services. But he's looking for partnerships. He's looking for new products for the community. He's looking for liquidity providers for his exchange. He's looking to spread the word and build the brand. That's what he's doing. And he travels everywhere. In the Emirates, he spoke at some of the big conferences. You saw in the video that we started with, he's been interviewed by Benzingo, by Forbes, by Wendy O. She's a social media expert. Who else? It said some of those names. Cointelegraph. And you saw that on the video. The video actually says a lot. It condenses a lot of what I'm telling you into a few minutes, but people like to get in a little bit more depth to it. And here he is on stage with the likes of Brian Benson sitting beside the co-founder of Sandbox. I don't know if you've heard of Sandbox, but if you haven't, go Google those guys. And the co-founder of 1inch. I mean, these are major blockchain platforms. And for Brian Benson to be selected as an expert to sit on this panel of experts tells me something, that this guy knows what he's on about. This guy has a chance. This guy, he's not thinking about something for the first time. He's done it with Binance and he wants to do it again. He was invited to the Satoshi Roundtable, a private closed door forum. The media aren't allowed into this one. And they took over, oh God, I can't even think of the name of the hotel again. It was in the Palms in the Emirates. It's one of these big famous hotels. I think there's only one in Manhattan, in New York, and then there's this one. They take over the whole hotel, these guys. Everybody's there. BlackRock's there. Michael Saylor's probably there from strategy. Donald Trump's two sons, I guess, would be there. But the future of AI, the future of blockchain, essentially is talked about and molded at the Satoshi Roundtable. It's a private grouping who designed the future of the industry. And Brian Benson's been invited to that. And here he is with his arm around the billionaire. This is CZ, the founder of Binance. And what that told me is, well, this company sounds fantastic. This man seems to or appears to know what he's doing. It gave me a good understanding of the company, a good feeling about this particular company. Of course, you do your own due diligence and come up with your own ideas, but to me, it just felt so good. And then recently they introduced Andrew. Now, again, I was able to spend 4 or 5 days with Andrew, and many of you were there as well. He's the COO, not the CEO, the COO, the Chief Operating Officer. And this guy has over 18 years experience in investment banking. Guess where he came from? Morgan Stanley Bank. Yeah. So Brian started off there. This guy came from Morgan Stanley Bank. He was managing a fund of $23 billion in executed transactions and $2 billion in digital asset management deals. So another gentleman. And what I see growing is the corporate infrastructure, in addition to the product infrastructure and ecosystem, in addition to the community that's growing. And that's really it for the company. I did talk about the Canadian license a little bit earlier, probably in the prelim to this presentation, but they've secured a full Canadian license, making it a major legal milestone in the company's international expansion. And the company they've established there is the Aurum Nero AI Technologies Corporation, and that's quite exciting. It's based in British Columbia. There's the company name, and the registered office is in North Vancouver. Now, I'm not saying we're licensed to do business there. What I'm saying is they now have a license, but very, very recently. So it might take a little bit of time to evolve, to set up the infrastructure in the offices, to check the legalities and roll out that market if that's what they intend to do. But it looks like if they've got a Canadian license, that it looks like they mean business in that part of the world. And when you're in North America, generally what happens in one jurisdiction happens in the other. What happens in the United States is likely to happen in Canada, and that all sounds quite exciting. So let's move away from the company. I think we've talked enough about those guys. Let's talk about what they're offering. What's the products? They have a point of sale terminal, which is quite interesting. This allows shops to accept fiat payments and crypto payments. They're designing ATM machines, which allow you to put in cash and it will generate crypto to your digital wallet. But conversely, if you need paper money, you generate a QR code in your wallet, present it to the ATM machine, and out comes the cash. And those sound effects are mine. All right. So anyway, that's what I call physical products, a physical card, physical machines, ATM. This is the physicality. Gold is another product they're doing. It's a physical metal, but they also have some excellent digital products on offer as well. This is their pre-launch, or let's call it their public beta test launch exchange. It's been around since November 25. I have no major use for something like this. I know a lot of you might have, but it's really cool if you want to change, say, Bitcoin into dollars or dollars into Bitcoin or USDT, should we call it, say, or Ethereum into Solana or Solana into XRP. So that's what these type of things do. But the promise here from Brian Benson is that he's going to offer 50% of the commissions back to the community. Now, if you heard what I said earlier, Binance did $1 billion in 6 months of revenue. A billion. Imagine Binance said to its customers, hey guys, we're going to give 50% of this billion back to you guys. You've built it. You got the customers. You promoted it. So I think that's a big positive, that if this is successful in the future, there's an ins here for everybody if 50% of the commissions is going to come back to the community. I think that's great. But as it is now, they have another product already launched on the exchange. They call it the liquidity staking product, and you can get 17 to 20% a year on your money. 17 to 20%. Now that's better than the bank. That's better than real estate. In real estate, you might get 5 to 10%. This is 17 to 20%. So if you'd like, let's say you had a little bit of XRP sitting somewhere doing nothing, or a little bit of USDT or Bitcoin. Now, some people have these things sitting in a wallet, sitting offline, sitting on an exchange, doing absolutely nothing. It's just been sitting there for weeks, months, and years. Well, by offering it in the liquidity staking product, you get free Bitcoin every day added to your wallet. Just a little bit of extra Bitcoin added to your account. If you have XRP, you get free XRP. If you have Ethereum, free Ethereum. It doesn't cost anything. There's no charges, and they're not trading your money. They're not putting your money to risk, you know. Uh, the good news is you can withdraw all of it or any of it or part of it at any time. No lock-in, no nothing. Uh, my understanding of staking was, well, you stake it for 30 days or you lock it up for 6 months or a year. That's what I thought staking meant. Well, this is liquidity staking. Liquidity, I mean, you can have it when you want, you take it when you want. There's no lock-in or contract to hold it there. So you could put Bitcoin in tomorrow, make some free Bitcoin, take it all out tomorrow. That's how this product works. A really cool product for onboarding some clients. This is just a screenshot I had from a Zoom that I attended, and it was Nick Patel from Clink Gold. There's the spelling, CLINQ Gold. When they and the government of Sierra Leone put together this gold product, and again, I don't need to tell you all about that, but that product's up and running. It's a real world asset where 50% goes into the physical gold and 50% goes to trade gold against the dollar. So one produces a yield, whereas the other side is you're getting the physical gold. If you don't want physical gold, if you don't want it shipped, if you don't want to take it through the airports, you can actually, it's tokenized, you actually sell it for USDT. You don't have to take the metal. But if you do want the metal, you're taking the metal as well. So you have gold, which is a great product. And then on the other side, you've got gold that's trading against the dollar, which is quite interesting. I want you to listen to this, please, for 2 minutes. It's Brian Benson, and he wants to create 1,000 millionaires. Have a listen to this.
We're on a mission to create 1,000 millionaires that don't have $1 million today. So if we can come up with a system whereby there's, hundreds of thousands of people in there, but 1,000 of these people turn into millionaires, then those assets are inside of our platform. That turns us into a unicorn right away. And so that's really the goal that I have as an executive at the company is how do we get people that don't have $1 million today to get them to $1 million through saving, through yield-bearing assets, through a lot, compounding interest, through a lot of these things that have been around for a long time, but that not everyone in the world uses. And these are tools that are super important to get us there. So that's how we're measuring it internally is if we can get to the point where we have 1,000 people that have become millionaires through our system and through working with our products, then that gets us really close to the unicorn valuation. And we want to be a fintech unicorn. I think Binance was the fastest fintech unicorn ever in the history. Yeah. I think it took less than 6 months. We used to have a slide about that in our pitch deck. So I'm pretty sure I've done this before. I've been involved in one of the fastest growing fintech unicorns in the world. And I think what we have at Aurum is actually very similar to when I started at Binance.
I think what we have at Aurum is actually very similar to when I started at Binance. That's what he said. So he's starting to feel an energy here that he's experienced before as Binance started to get that movement to $1 billion. So that's coming from the CEO himself, and it's quite inspiring. When I first heard him say this 1,000 millionaires, I rolled my eyes. I went, like, how's he going to create 1,000 millionaires? That just doesn't sound feasible, But I was at a conference recently, and the host of the conference asked in the audience, there might have been 200 or 300 people there, says, if anyone has earned $1 million from Aurum, would you please stand up? And I didn't count them, but somebody told me there were 7 or 8 people stood up in the audience that had already earned more than $1 million. So I know that's only 7 or 8. He said he wants to create 1,000, but let's say there's 10 or 15 already created in the world. There's still room for another 985 millionaires. maybe you're the next one. So funny enough, when people say something, you don't believe it, but then they go and prove that it works. Then you go, maybe it is possible. So anyway, that was just my feeling. Now, here's the bad news. Can't all be good news, guys. Come on, where's the bad news? Here it is. Here's the bad news. It's going to cost you $20. There you go. Not for free, no freebies, no free rides. Bye-bye. Cheerio, no free rides. Bye-bye. It's $20 for the year. And, you spend more on 4 cups of coffee. You'll spend more car parking fees. You'll spend more on the golf course. You'll spend more in the gym. You know, $20 for the year gives you access to all of the company products, and I think that's pretty fair. Now, they don't pay out any commission, so the legal stance of this, my understanding is, if you're incentivized to recruit somebody into a business because you're making money, because you're getting paid, in some jurisdictions that's seen as a whack whack oops. No, they don't like it. That if, let's say, you introduced me to this and you got paid because I joined up, that's in some jurisdictions isn't liked very much. But here, when you join somebody up, you don't get paid, so they don't pay for recruiting at all. All of this money goes to the company. It deals for your server time, for your customer support, for all of those things, and they don't pay out anything. However, if your customer buys a product or uses a product, then you would be entitled to a commission if you referred them. But on the registration, on the sign up, they don't pay out anything. And they're copying a 70-year-old company in the industry. There's another company from the United States that originated way back. I think it was the 50s, 60s, or 70s. They have a system like this. I think they charge $35 for the year. Aurum came in at $19, and there's very few companies do this, but Aurum are trying to model that company that's been around for 70 years. And the other thing about this, guys, is I'm not a financial advisor. I'm sure probably you're not. So you're not allowed to give any, guarantees, or you're not able to sell financial services, or what do they call them? Securities. You're not allowed to do that, right? So, but you are allowed to promote a website, like you could promote Amazon, or you could promote YouTube, or you could promote, some music channel. And you can promote a website, but you're not allowed to sell financial services. And with Aurum, you can't, because you don't have any financial services to sell. I mean, you don't have any Visa cards to sell. You don't have any products to sell. So when the customer pays a subscription, then the customer is working directly with the company to get those products, not from you. So just be mindful of that, guys. So it is $20, and that allows you to use as much or as little or as few or as much of the products as you wish. We'll take a look at some of the products here. Here's another one. This, I'm told, is the best one. It's the people's favorite. This one's been around since 11th of January 2023. It's 3 years old, actually. It was not open for retail. It was not open for the public. It was originally designed for the banks, for the high net worth individuals and the VCs. And I think I read it on Forbes that it said that a VC put $12 million in to test this. And I also heard kind of off the record that VC, that bank, or whoever that was, tried to buy this technology for $100 million, and Aurum refused to sell it to them. So that was back in 2023. And I've seen results from 2023, because if you ever have a call, let's say with the traders, and you say, hey, I want to see your first deposit. When did you start this? You can go to deposits on Binance. You go down to the bottom, you see, there's the first deposit there. That was 11th of January 23. So you know it's been working all of these years. But they never offered it to retail until September 24. They decided to open the door to an affiliate idea. And the reason for that was because they were considering opening this exchange. Now, of course, it's open now, but back then it wasn't. They said, we're going to open an exchange, and somebody advised them to, a model for accumulating lots of clients and customers is a referral system, is what you call an affiliate program. So they said no initially to that. But then when they realized that Binance had an affiliate program, and it was very successful, that Amazon have the best one. Amazon have an affiliate program. So then these guys said, okay, we'll try it. And in September 24, they decided to run this out. Now, I never heard about it in 24. I heard about this in 2025. April 2025 is when I first heard about it. So there's been lots of customers using this for a few years. And that gives me a lot of confidence too. I don't know about you, but if something's sustainable for that length of time, the chances are that it's on the right track. On the screen here, you'll see the results for April 2026, and the fund did 18 million in profits. Now, you don't get that. I don't get that. That's what the company generated in its trading profits, $18 million in 1 month. The amount trading was 123 million. 123 million. So people think, that's a lot of money. In terms of trading, 100 million is it's just a little baby. 100 million, I think when you get up to the billions, 300 billion or something, then you become a noise. But at 100 million, it's a tiny drop in the ocean, is my understanding. So the average monthly rewards are coming out at about 17.5% a month. It's not fixed, it moves up and down. You'll see here, if we're looking at 25 results. So it did 15%, then 17, 17, 17, 17, 16, 17, 18, 18, 17, 17, and 17. So the average across the whole year is about 17.5%. Now, as I said, you don't get that. What you might get would be determined by your account, what you decide. And for those customers that attempted, say, between $100 and $249 in an account, those customers are enjoying in around 10% a month. For customers that can do between $249 and $1,000, those guys are getting about 11% a month. For those of you that can do between $1,000 and $2,500 a month, those guys are getting 12% a month. And again, past performance is not indicative of anything that might happen in the future, but it gives you some kind of gauge, some kind of record. If the first person to run a mile in 4 minutes, he became very famous. He was the first man to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. But now lots and lots and lots and lots of people can do it. So once it's done once, it can be repeated and it can be improved. For those customers that can do bigger accounts, let's say, I don't know, 10,000 to 25,000, they're getting 14, almost 15%. So it really depends on your own account, how it does. I had some questions about this when I saw it. My first question was, how does the company make money? If you guys are paying out all this money to your customers, where do you get the money? That's what I asked them. And they told me the answers on the screen. And at that time, I didn't understand what they meant. But I can see here that if the fund is making 17.5%, and let's say your account was getting 10 as an example, then the company get the spread. They get that difference between 10 and 17. They're making what, 7% on all of those customers? If you're getting 11%, the company's still making 6% roughly. If you're getting 12%, the company still makes 5%. If you're getting 13%, the company makes 4% every month on those accounts. So in every instance, the company's also making money. And that's very, very, very important, guys. To have a company around, you need it producing profits as well. And I don't know anything about trading. I'm not here to profess I'm an expert, but I asked a lot of people how it works, and they say that how it usually works is the trading team take like 40% of the profit and the customers get 60%. That's usually how it works. And then if you're a bigger customer, you can negotiate 70-30. So the customers get 70% and the trading team have to make money as well. So they take 30% of the profit. And then the best ones are for the institutions, the big guys. They get 80% of the money and 20% goes to the trading team because obviously they're putting in bigger money. So that's generally how it works. And this is how they've carved up those kind of profit sharing between the size of the accounts and how this is profitable. So that was my first question. The second question I had, can you take these profits out? And they said yes. And I said, yes, what? Yes, you can take the profits out. I said, when? They said, well, whenever you want. I said, what do you mean whenever? Every day can I take the profit out? They went, yes, of course. I said, okay. So that was my second question. And then my third question was, what do you guys charge if you take these profits out? What is there fees to do this? Because usually there's fees. I've seen platforms, they charge like 10% as a fee to take out your own money. I mean, crazy stuff. Well, these guys said it's 1%. So I thought that was very, 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 very fair. So those are the type of questions I had. Again, go and speak to your own financial advisor. Go and speak to an expert, a professional in the area to get an understanding before making any investment decisions. But I'm just sharing my thoughts, my comments. Now, here's another one. We were able to look at this account. And this account, you can see on the bottom left-hand side, started at 17th of April last year, 2025. And it started with $500. So the customer put in 500, that was it. But on the 17th of September, look at the bottom right now, please. Look down at the bottom right, 17th of September, where the blue arrow is. So if this account started on the 17th of April on the left, and we're looking at the 17th of September as a timestamp, you're talking 5 months. And this account moved from $500 all the way up to 882. So it actually made $382. I wasn't impressed when I heard that. I didn't think it was great. However, when I was showing the maths about this, I went, "Oh my goodness, that's great! It's super." Because to work out the percentage growth, you take the profit, which is $382, and you put it on top of the deposit, which was $500. And how maths works is you divide the bottom number into the top. You divide the deposit or the principal into the profit, and that gives you the percentage yield. And it's done 76% in 5 months. And when I saw that, I was very impressed. When I heard about $300, I wasn't, but when I heard 76%, I was, if you understand what I'm saying. Now, banks can't offer 76% in 5 months. Property, if you're in the property business, you can't get 76% in 5 months. No way. You'll get 5 or 10% in a year, not 76% in 5 months. It's just crazy stuff. So the only thing I noticed about this account, guys, I must point it out. You see here this reinvestment button? The customer has chosen to turn that on, which means the profit it gets every day is added to the principal. So it's got a compounding effect. I would guess that if that was turned off, it probably wouldn't be just as good as that. It'd be good, but maybe not just as good as that. So, well, actually, have a look up here. Do you see where the dark blue color is here? Look at that. It says 11% a month. So 5/11s is 55, and the fractions, you'd probably do 55 or 60% if you were not compounding. I guess that's how it works. If you turn the compounding on, it did more, it did 76. Do you understand? Now, when this button is off, the profits go to your account every day to withdraw. You take the money out every day. But if you turn that button on, it stays in Binance. It stays in OKX or KuCoin, wherever they're trading, right? Because they trade on a lot of different exchanges because that's where the liquidity is. That's where the money is. So your choice is either to turn that button on or off. And that's what I want to say about that small account. But I thought it was very good, just $500. If we look at a larger account, and we tracked this one for a few months last year. So this one started on the 10th of April, and it started with $10,000. So the first one was 500. This is a bigger account. So, for accredited investors, for high net worth individuals, this is probably their type of account, or a business owner. A $10,000 account made 2,360. Can you see in the green there? 2,360 in 5 weeks. How do we know it was 5 weeks? If you look in the bottom right, it says the 16th of May. When did it start? 10th of April. 10th of April, 16th of May, 5 weeks. 23%. Incredible. Now, the next time we checked it out was on the 24th of June. Can you see it here? Here's the timestamp, 24th of June at 1:38. It is the same account number ending 1972. It did start on the 10th of April, but it's not 12,000 anymore. It jumped up to 15,000. So in 10 weeks, it made $5,500, 55%. After 12 weeks, you can see it jumped up to 17,000. And after 4 months, this particular account doubled. The 10,000 became 20. Incredible. And we know that since the 10th of August, it doubled again and again. Incredible. So we were tracking that all of last year. Now, some people say, well, how does it make all this money? This is impossible. That's what I said until somebody showed me this. They said people are conditioned to the traditional banking system for 20, 30, 40 years of their life where they get nothing. They get 1%, 2% in the bank. But what does the bank do? It takes your money, lends it out, and gets bigger percentage. It trades the money up. It makes the money. It doesn't give it to the customer. It's only now when you're on the receiving side of it that you kind of question it. Well, how is this possible? Well, AI is now turning in your favor. I was worried about AI. I said people will lose their jobs. Industries are changing due to AI. What are people going to do if AI takes over all their work? Well, now's your chance to get on the positive side of AI and use it to your benefit. That's the idea here. But anyway, back to this account. This is a coin market cap. This is a third party site, nothing to do with Aurum. And if you just go to the gainers to show you what's possible in a day, this coin here, Dogo, made 2,000% in one day. Now, we were looking what? We were looking at 100% in 4 months. How many days is that? 430, 120 days. This is one day, did 20 times more in one day than Aurum did in 4 months. Here's another one, Elevate did 800%. Here's another one, Pepe Trump, look at that one, 423% in a day. Well, I think Aurum did 500% in 3 years. Aurum did 500% in 3 years. This is 400% in a day. There's 500% in a day, one day. And all the AI needs to do, it needs to look at all this information. It gets feeds from every social channel, every blockchain website. It gets all the data feeds from Twitter, from LinkedIn, from Facebook. It gets all the data feeds from the news channels. They also pay Bloomberg for a data feed as well, as my understanding. And all it needs to do is find a graph moving and just go in and take a little bit of profit. So they don't what's called future trade. They only spot trade. It's just in and snipe a little bit of profit, in and grab a little bit of profit, just in and out of the market fast. It's high frequency spot trading. So if they spot this coin moving like this and the pattern shows and the information shows, it just goes in, takes 0.5% and comes out. That's it, finished. Bye-bye. Don't risk it anymore. And that's how they come up with these percentages, and that's how it was explained to me. Now, that's just one of their products, guys. They've lots of these. They've another one called the ProBot. I'm not going to explain it tonight. They have another one called the ZeusBot, which just trades single pairs like Bitcoin against the dollar, Ethereum against the dollar. That one we looked at trades the top 20 pairs on CoinMarketCap, the top 20. These ones only trade one pair, like Ethereum against the dollar. That's it. That's all that one does. So they have more of these. You can learn about them after. And they've introduced another one called the NeroBot very, very recently, which is a decentralized application working off your own decentralized wallet on a browser. Again, you can find out more about that from the person that maybe shared this with you. I just want to finish with this card. I think the card's really, really clever. You don't need the physical card for this to work. Anybody can have this working in 5 minutes. You can order it tonight, set it up tonight, and off you go to the shop tomorrow. If you load funds onto it, and you can tap it with your phone because it works on Google Pay and Apple Pay. It costs 2.2% to put the money on, but I mean, that's nothing. When if you try to change euros to pounds or dollars to yen or dirhams to naira, everybody has to make money, so there's always fees involved. But 2.2%. So if you put on $1,000 of USDT, you're going to end up with what, $978. They're going to take $22 out of your 1,000 to put onto the card. But what does that mean? That means you spend your cryptocurrency anywhere in the world. Like, most shops don't take crypto, but when you put it on this, you just show the card and it works. It's incredible. So it's a really, really good product, and there's more to this as well. You can learn more about that later. There's going to be 4 of these cards available. Right now, there's only one. The physical card is very hard to get. The virtual card comes out at $249, but if you qualify for one of their events, or if you're in the area of one of their offices with appointment, you can get these cards at the office. If you have one, they're free. Well, as long as you have an account and the virtual card working, you can get a plastic card if you need it for free. Most people are happy to run around with the virtual version where you just tap it. You don't need a card to lose. But the physical card is an extra bonus that comes with it. If you qualify for one of their events, they hand them out. They had an event recently in the Maldives, and everybody there got a card if they wanted one. Or if you were near any of their offices, you make an appointment, you say, hey, I've got a virtual card. They say, hey, would you like a physical one as well? They give you that for free as part of the package. That's how it goes. They're not keen to post them around the world. I don't know, is that a regulatory thing or a licensable thing? They're trying to find a solution to do that. That's what's going on there. So I'll show you the card working, and that'll do us tonight. So here we go. This card has been in operation since June 2025. So it's been around for a long time. It's not something new, and pretty exciting product.
Here we go then, second official transaction.
No, purple and white. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Mina.
There we go. Imagine stopping your trading bot. Just say stop bot, top up card, and the money goes on the card and you go buy shopping. It's incredible. Really, really good. Now, that's our presentation over. I want to thank you for attending. Again, do your own due diligence, seek professional advice before you make any investments or business decisions. I'm only here to share my thoughts and opinions about it and to give you a little bit more knowledge on it. Some of you would like to see the affiliate program. I've been asked, could I share that? And I'm happy to do that. It takes about 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes, guys, and we'll show you how the affiliate program works. If you're not interested in the affiliate program, off you go. You're done. But for those who'd like to stay and see the affiliate program, well done. Here we go. So affiliate programs are very popular. As I said earlier, most companies have one. I know that for any of you know the company called Tesco in the UK or Tesco in Europe, it's one of the biggest shopping brands for groceries, and it's quite a big store. I think maybe 40% of all home groceries in the UK are sold through Tesco, about 40% of all shopping. So it's a big brand. Tesco have an affiliate program. What does that mean? It means that if you promote Tesco to a friend of yours who's not shopping at Tesco and they go online and buy, not from the shop now, from online, if you go to the Tesco online store and order stuff, Tesco give you a bonus because you told that customer. It's a thank you bonus for referring a customer, which saves them spending money on television, radio, newspapers, advertisement. Binance have an affiliate program. Crypto.com sponsored the Super Bowl. I don't think they got any customers. They spent millions. Yeah? Because it just brands the company, Crypto.com. I've heard of it. You don't have an account, do you? No, you just heard of it. It's Crypto.com. So you cannot sell or explain Aurum in a 30-second TV commercial. It takes 30 minutes, takes 40 minutes. You can't have that on television. So therefore, they reward in an affiliate style for your word of mouth recommendation. And that's what you do every day of your life. You're recommending movies you've watched. You're recommending TV channels. You're recommending restaurants that you've had a good meal in. You're recommending holiday destinations. You're recommending clothing that you're wearing. You recommend, even by the car you drive, tell somebody else, hey, she likes Range Rover. Oh, look at him. He's a Jag guy. Oh, look at this lady. Here, she's on Toyota. So by the car you drive, you're a walking, moving advertising machine. Did you know that? And, look, Michael Kors. Oh, Hugo Boss. Tommy Hilfiger. Look, there's a Tommy guy. So the clothes we wear, you're just marketing machine, but you never make money from it. So an affiliate program is a way of saying, hey, if you like something, you tell somebody, you get a handshake, you get a little bonus. That's all it is. Amazon have the best one, right? Until maybe this one, you might think this is good. So how does it work? It's simple. It doesn't cost anything. That's the good news. It's free. It comes with your account. You don't have to pay for this. It's part of your $19.99 service fee. You get an affiliate link. If you use it, you use it. If you don't, who cares? Yeah, it's optional. That's what I want to say. Now, everybody starts as a Nova in the affiliate program, and you get 3% for that referral. So if somebody puts in $100, you get $3. Hey, you're not going to get rich. But if the customer puts in another $100, say next month, you get another $3 and another one the next month. So yes, you could get a lot of $3. Maybe you only have 2 customers or 4 or 9 or 17 or 20,000 customers. You can have as many or as few as you want. It's not a multi-level thing. It's just frontline, one tier, as many customers as you want to tell about it. You're getting this 3%. That's it. Finished. Now, for those of you that would like a pay rise, let's say you'd like to get 5%, not 3. What happens is when $7,500 of total team trading is accumulated from your customers and theirs and theirs and theirs, all of the customers in your whole genealogy, once that reaches 7,500, you get a promotion to 5% on deposits instead of 3. You get a pay rise. But if one of your customers gets a customer, they get 3 because they're Novas. You get an override of 2% to infinity on every single deposit. This customer, all right around the world, you're getting 2% of every deposit if you're a Voyager and it's a Nova that introduced the customer. In addition to that pay rise, you get a $100 instant bonus. And in addition to that, every single day from then on, you're getting 5% of what all of the customers makes in your whole community. So you might only have 2 customers, you get 5% on them, but they might have 2 customers and they might have 1 and he might have 3 and he might have 6. As long as you're the only Voyager, you're getting 5% on the profits of everybody's profits of everybody in your team. That's how it works. It's incredible. Now, if you'd like a pay rise, as most people do, you can get a pay rise up to 7%. How? You need to go Vanguard. How do you go Vanguard? The 7,500 of volume trading that you have in your whole organization needs to grow to 25. It's not a new 25, it's 7,500 as it continues, 8,000, 12,000, 25,000. It just grows to 25,000. You also have to promote 2 Voyagers somewhere in your team. They can't be on the same line, but here's the good news. You don't have to introduce these people. These superstars could end up anywhere, maybe somebody on the 4th generation or somebody way down on the 11th. Once those 2 Voyagers are in place, you go Vanguard. What happens? You get 7% on your own customers' deposits. If one of the Voyagers introduces a customer, you get 2% to infinity. But if a Nova introduces a customer, you're getting 4% to infinity because you get the difference between 7 and 3 or 7 and 5. You get a $500 bonus instantly. You don't wait, you don't ask. It just arrives in your account straight away. And now your 5% daily matching bonus is increased to 7.5% on the profits of all customers to infinity, except when you reach a Voyager, they're getting 5% to infinity, you're getting 2.5% the whole way down after that. But on open lines of business, there are no Voyagers, you're getting 7.5% on all of the profits. And that's the affiliate program. If you understand what I've said, or 80% of what I've said, then you understand 80% of the plan. It's not difficult. If you want to get 9%, more volume, a little bit more structure. If you'd like 12%, more volume, a little bit of structure. But what is good is these cash bonuses. $1,000, $2,000, instantly you hit the rank of Nexus. $5,000 when you hit Oracle. $10,000 bonus. Instant bonus. You don't wait, you don't ask. It arrives instantly once you hit Prime. There are 15 ranks. On the screen there are 7. The next 8 are Super. When you hit Elite, you get a 20,000 bonus. Magnets get 50,000 bonus. We know people that are hitting that rank inside 4 months from starting 0, getting that 50,000 plus the 20 plus those other bonuses. Mythos can be done inside 6 months. We have customers hitting that inside 6 months. This is another 100,000. You have the 50, you get another 100. Once you hit Legend, 150,000 bonus. Once you hit Dominion, you're one of Brian Benson's millionaires. Brian Benson said, I want to create 1,000 millionaires. 8 people stood up to say they'd already achieved this at the last convention. 8 people, and the thing's only starting. So if you want to be one of Brian Benson's millionaires, all you need to do is take 12 steps. 12 steps up the mountain. Let's call it the Aurum mountain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps up that. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 steps, you're a millionaire. And people have done it inside 12 months. If they can do it, you can do it. Why? Because it's the same Brian Benson. It's the same Andrew Isaacs. Yeah? It's the same Canadian license. It's the same company offices. It's the same products. It's the same compensation plan. And it's the same 24 hours that God gave each of us. It's what you do with your time and how you employ it into this business to pull out your results. And that's my presentation over. So thanks again. We've done that in less than an hour. And we'll see you all again soon. And I hope you do your own due diligence. I hope the decision you come to is the right one for you and your family. And I wish you every success in that decision. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.